morning, Vice Admiral Chevy, Rear Admiral Shever, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, current and former shipmates, family, friends. Welcome to the retirement ceremony in honor of Command Master Chief Todd Anselm, 34 years of faithful service in the United States Navy. Will the guests please rise, remain standing for the arrival of our official party, and remain standing through the national anthem. Military guests, please cover. Rear Admiral, United States Navy, arriving. Command, arriving. Color Guard, parade the colors.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the
Color Guard, retire the colors.
Order. Colors. Right. Ready. Forward. Mark.
Bosun, post the side boys.
I'm empty. Side boys, left or right? Face. All out.
Reverend Monsignor Frederick Elkin, Captain, United States Navy retired, will now deliver the invocation.
It is a special honor and privilege for me to be here this morning to participate in this time-honored retirement ceremony. I thank Todd and Angela for inviting me. You see, we met and served together 20 years ago when I was serving my twilight tour at Naval Station Rota, Spain. Now, I have the special opportunity, so to speak, to welcome them into the retired community. We bow our heads now for a moment and ask God bless to our gathering here in honor of Todd A. Anselm, Master Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy. Dear God, we ask that you continue to bless our great country with strong and courageous people like Master Chief Anselm, who chose to serve our nation in the military. Lord, we also ask that our political leaders offer the necessary support and commitment to keep our forces well equipped and adequately protected, so that the United States of America will always stand as an example of freedom and justice for all. May our fellow citizens know and appreciate the many sacrifices and challenges that our military members face every hour of every day. Dear Lord, strengthen and help those family members who wait and pray for their loved ones who are deployed. Give them necessary resources, friends, and help to sustain them, both spiritually and materially. And may they enjoy a blessed and joyous reunion when their loved ones return home. Dear Lord, we bring these requests to you, asking that you bless them on us on this very special day. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Will the guests please be seated? Military guests, please uncover. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is my true pleasure to introduce to you Commander, Naval Air Systems Command, Vice Admiral Carl Chevy.
Good morning. It was great to meet all the folks in the first couple of rows here a little while ago in the green room back there. These are pretty special events where we get to celebrate the faithful and dedicated service, 34 years of faithful and dedicated service of our service member, but more importantly is to say thank you to his family members who also served right along with us. It is great to be back in Oceana. I met my wife here over by Little Creek. We got married, and in good Navy tradition, we moved away and have never been back. So it is what it is. I would like to say a warm welcome to some of the folks we have up front. Todd's wife, Angela, good to see you again. His sons, Travis and Ryan. One is going to live close to mom and dad, one is not. Good luck. His father, Richard, his mother, Grace, his stepmother, Diane, and hey, look, this is a big moment, and I asked all of you when I was in the green room back there on kind of his journey this last 34 years, and some of you were at boot camp when he graduated from boot camp, is what I was told. So to go through what he has gone through for all those years and served his country honorably, faithfully, you must all be very proud, and you have every reason to be. So welcome and congratulations again. As a service member, I often get thanked and recognized from my service to my country. As parents, Maggie and I have 3 kids, Cole, Ethan, and Ashley. She and I have personally observed just how much of an impact the military life has on our families. Moving, new schools, new friends, new sports teams, new routines. Time without mom and dad. Our families serve right along with us. To Travis and Ryan, and to all the family members, thank you for your service to our great country. How about a big round of applause for our families? Richard, Grace, Diane, you taught Todd the importance of family and the value of hard work. As kids, we take for granted what our parents do for us. As parents, we realize the long hours and hard work it takes to raise a family. I'm certain Todd will thank you for everything you did. All right, is this something new? What's going on? We were having an emotional moment. He will thank you what you've done for him throughout his entire life and his entire career. On behalf of the Navy, thank you for sending us your son. Angela, this Navy thing is fun, exciting, adventurous, and on occasion can be very tiring and trying, especially for the families of our service members. Your love, support, and encouragement have been instrumental to his success throughout his entire naval career. Thank you for your service to our great country. A couple of weeks back, we had Master Chief over to the house for a farewell. It's not a house, it's a manor. I live in the Mattaponi Manor. You've been there. It's a manor. It's a 300-year-old house that the Navy owns that I get to rent for a couple of years. We chatted and we said farewell, and we said nice things about Master Chief, and during part of that discussion, I asked him what he was going to say today and when the emotion would set in. It has set in for some of you already up front here, so that's good. I have my stopwatch on to see when he's gonna break. Todd, I am certain you are a bit sad to be leaving this great team and your teammates, but tremendously proud of what your teams and your teammates have accomplished over the years. Your legacy is the team, and it's the teammates that you have taught, led, and inspired, the team that will continue to do the great work that you started. That is your legacy, my friend. Congratulations on a tremendously successful tour, and thank you for your dedicated and faithful service to our Navy and to our nation. And now, I am, so David and my whole front office is behind you guys, and I asked him what was my play today. And David, my flag aide, said, "You are eye candy." So the main event is about to come up, and I'm going to introduce Rear Admiral Dan Underachiever. You can read his bio in the program. An exceptional leader, an exceptional naval aviator, a legend in naval aviation. There are thousands of naval aviators across our great Navy. And of all of those naval aviators that are up here on stage today, he's ranked in the top 2. Under, over to you.
Took you guys a little while, didn't it? Thanks, Admiral. It's quite an honor to be up on stage with the Admiral, with Todd, and with Chaplain. This is quite the honor for me to be able to speak here on behalf of Todd and the family. What an amazing family this is, indeed. We're already introduced everybody. It's great to be back in Virginia, NES Oceana. I drove past my old CAG 8 offices, a little tear to the eye. It's awesome. My current job's in Colorado Springs, which is a little weird for a Navy person, but it's cool because we do Homeland Defense, NORAD, NORTHCOM, and we absolutely rely on our Navy and Marine Corps team to defend us. Really, the Navy is what provides us our greatest integrated deterrence, globally integrated layered defense with our allies and partners, because nobody works better with our allies and partners than our Navy. You know, we go to all the ports, we know everybody, and around the world, it's just a known when the Navy arrives. So it's kind of cool to watch from my perspective now, seeing what the Navy brings to that whole Homeland Defense piece. Thanks to CNATT and NAS Oceana for allowing us to honor this amazing sailor and family, and to YNC Aldrich, who really helped me from out in Colorado Springs get ready for this. So today's about Todd and Angela. They lived across the street from us in Fallon. It was an amazing cul-de-sac of people. We had more parties in the actual cul-de-sac than in the houses. We just closed it off. Our gun boss and Todd and Angela were the gatekeepers of the cul-de-sac, so nobody came in there unless it was approved by them. It was really an awesome time, and sometimes Fallon gets a bad rap. None of us wanted to leave Fallon. Our neighborhood was so tight, so close, so awesome, and the mission so cool that nobody wanted to leave. Okay. For me, Master Chief was a really easy pick for the Command Master Chief of NAUTIC. He's a sailor, he's a chief's chief, and everybody in uniform knows what that means. He's the guy. When I was the commander of NAUTIC, I went to his office more than he came to my office. Why'd I do that? Because that's where all the information was. That's where all the good stuff was. What's going on, what's concerning people. He knew everything from the families to the civilians to the contractors to the sailors and the Marines that work for us. He knew everything. And anybody who knows him knows he communicates up, down, cross seamlessly, it just doesn't matter. People tell him everything. They just open up to him, and that's who he is, and that's what he brought. Most of this stuff that looks cool is because of him and because of what he did for the team. Okay. So we are here to talk about the most important person in the room today, and that would be Angela. By far. It brought back great memories because we were in the VIP room back there, and she came in, everybody stopped, she said, "Time to go," everybody moved right away. And I remember that. Angela speaks, people do. That's just the way it is. And on the way here, I stopped in Chicago. I called my wife, Julie, and I said, "Hey, I'm in Midway." She goes, "You mean Chicago?" And I said, "Oh, I remember that." Inside joke, sorry. Okay, so she bought into this thing like a lot of our spouses buy into this thing, right? I think they had less than a year to go in San Diego. They met, fell in love. Great, you're going to get out of the Navy in less than a year. This is going to be awesome. We'll start our life back in Missouri. Perfect. And then one thing leads to another. Then they're in El Centro. And then Travis and Ryan arrive in El Centro. And then it just keeps going. And 34 years later, we are the beneficiaries of this amazing family that was going to get out of the Navy within a year. And to me, that's a testimony for naval service and for a Navy career. It really is the model. Angela and our spouses are incredible, and the reason that the rest of us can be successful and dedicate our time and energy to our nation and to our Navy. I'm sure just like Julie, most of the things like natural disasters, things that go wrong in the house happen when we're deployed. Or at least I know in my house, that's usually when it happens. And then they just figure out a way to fix it. They work with the local community and things just go right. And then if you're not smart like me, you come home after a hurricane, after my wife and kids have been living with no electricity for about 4 days, and about 10 minutes after I come home, the power comes back on, and I go to the refrigerator and I take the tape off, and I go, wow, that was really annoying for the 10 minutes that I had to live through that. I got sat down later that night and got a one-on-one discussion like I do often with the chiefs, who sit me down one-on-one and very nicely say, next time, before you say that in front of everybody, let's think about these things then. And if you could talk to me first, that might help before you announce things at quarters and stuff like that. And all the chiefs in the audience know exactly what I'm talking about. So Angela, thank you from the bottom of our heart. Thank you for what you've done, raising an amazing family, to your family for raising you and Todd and giving us this gift of this family. I asked Julie what I should say today and what you all might want to hear. And she looked at me stone cold and said, they want to hear from Todd. And then she ripped up 15 of my 20 pages of my speech. Okay, back to Master Chief. He pulled off, in my mind, he pulled off what we all dream of pulling off in the Navy. Awesome sound. And that's balancing family and your career while dedicating yourself to both, which is really hard to do, and it's really hard to pull off and work that work-life balance. And everybody in uniforms knows what I'm talking about. A lot of you in industry know what I'm talking about. It is really hard. While in Diego Garcia, he would read to the boys and send tapes. For the younger folks in the crowd, a tape is something that would record a voice. You would send it through the mail, then you would put it into a machine, and it would play that voice and image back to you. It's kind of like CDs. No, wait. It's like streaming. It's like a streaming service that you get. It's just not as fast. He coached the boys' sports when they were younger. He visited their school and launched a weather balloon, which is just cool. I would have been amazed by that. He taught them how to drive in the snow, and for like most dads, that means doing donuts and drifting in a parking lot to show them how to do it and how to brake properly and that kind of stuff. They went on Tiger Cruise and learned things like gambling, critical life skill. There was one point that Angela took the boys to the ship, and she argued with the quartermaster to get on the ship to go see her husband. and a scared quartermaster had to inform her that she was at the wrong ship. And I'm sure that quartermaster was absolutely relieved when he figured out which ship and which pier it was actually on and got her to the right place to see her husband. My heart fills with joy as this fabulous foursome is going to get back together close in the same state and near each other because truly family is the most important thing in life. For those veterans in the crowd, thank you. And especially to our Vietnam veterans, thank you for what you've done for us. Your dedication to our nation, and then you have refused to let anybody not honor our service. So when we get thanked, I think about our Vietnam veterans and what you did for us. And for our chiefs, thank you for what you do. You're always the first in. You're always the last out. I always remember going to the hangar bay and going, how are we doing? And there's always a chief there who goes, it's all good. Go on Liberty. We got this. I'll be the last one out, which is awesome. That's what our chiefs do. And the care for our sailors. It's that balance of discipline and care for the sailor that is so real, right? As officers, we get to provide vision and things like that. The chiefs have to make it work, right? They have to figure out, okay, who needs a break? Who needs some discipline, you know, stick and carrot and that kind of stuff, and they have to balance all that. And it really is the toughest job in the Navy. But it's really cool, and they do it so well. And nobody's done it better than Todd. When I reflect on what he means to us, he is that caring leader that always has the right balance. He helped our team immensely when we were at Nautic, and while we couldn't fix everything, we knew what was going on because he would know what's happening with the sailors and the families and everyone else. We have an effort in the Navy called Get Real, Get Better, and nobody's done that better than Todd. My friend, thank you so much for the honor of speaking today and for the honor and privilege of serving with you. I am a better leader because of Todd, by a lot. There could be a debate out there on what, you know, level of leadership and that stuff. Thank God we don't put anything bad in our resumes, in our bios. Okay, he's a great teammate. You're amazing, and we thank you, Angelo and the boys. Thank you for your years of dedicated service for the Navy. May God continue to bless your family, our sailors, our nation, and our Navy. Thank you all very much.
We'll now present Master Chief Anselm with his end of tour award and certificates. Master Chief Anselm, front and center. Attention to award. The President of the United States takes great pleasure in presenting the Legion of Merit to Command Master Chief, Aviation Warfare, Surface Warfare, Expeditionary Warfare, Information Warfare, Todd A. Anselm, United States Navy, for service as set forth in the following: for exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service as Command Master Chief, Naval Air Systems Command from March 2020 to January 2023. Command Master Chief Anselm's knowledge, understanding, and planning were the driving force behind executing NAVAIR's transition to mission-aligned organization. He has developed and executed a plan for the UX shift of hundreds of sailors impacted by the organizational structure, ensuring commands and sailors felt minimal impact. His planning, counsel, and recommendations were vital to sustaining good order and discipline over the course of the COVID-19 pandemic. His unsurpassed dedication, extraordinary leadership skills, diplomacy, and steadfast commitment to excellence had lasting effects on the success and readiness of NAVAIR, the Navy Aviation Enterprise, and the Navy. His superior performance of duties highlights in the culmination of 34 years of honorable and dedicated service by his dynamic direction, keen judgment, and loyal devotion to duty. Command Master Chief Anselm reflected great pride upon himself and upheld the high traditions of the United States Navy. For the President, Carl Chevy, Vice Admiral, U.S. Commander, Naval Air Systems Command. At this time, Master Chief Anselm will be receiving various certificates to include current and past Master Chief Petty Officers of the Navy, as well as a letter of appreciation from the Governor of Missouri and President Bush. All right. Chief Aldridge will now present Master Chief Anselm a gift from the NAVAIR NAVAIR front office. Master Chief Anselm's family will be receiving a letter of appreciation from Vice Admiral Chevy. Will Angela, Travis, Ryan, Grace, Richard, Diane, and Joan please join us in the front of the stage? By the authority vested in me, it is my pleasure to express the grateful appreciation of the United States Navy to you for your unselfish, patriotic, and devoted service during your husband, father, and son's military career. Your unfailing support and understanding helped immeasurably to make possible his lasting contribution to the nation. For those of you who say a single man cannot make a difference, I say wrong. Master Chief Anselm did. He made our Navy stronger and kept our nation safe. With his service to the Navy now complete, he will be able to spend more time with you in the future. Thank you and appreciate all your hard work and dedication. Signed, Carl Chevy, Vice Admiral, United States Navy, Commander, Naval Air Systems Command. At this time, Master Chief Jessica Mahalan will now read Creating the Navy Wife.
A Navy wife is no ordinary woman. Operating for months at a time without companionship or assistance of her husband, she routinely overcomes the challenges that would give the average person a nervous breakdown. Part doctor, part teacher, part handyman, she can lavish loving care on a sick toddler, help a teenager with his algebra homework, and track down a faulty circuit breaker, all while holding down a full-time job. Within 30 minutes notice, she can serve breakfast, lunch, or dinner to 14 hungry sailors and still somehow balance her family's meager grocery budget. She can press a set of dress whites to inspection standards, tie a perfect square knot in military neckerchief, and pack a sea bag in the cold hours before dawn. For months at a time, she must settle for letters instead of kisses, emails in place of hugs, and long-distance phone calls in lieu of her husband's touch. She manages a smile when her sailor is at sea for her second anniversary in a row, and accepts the fact that there's no 1 in 3 chance that he'll have to stand duty on her birthday. She has learned to stand on a pier and wave goodbye without tears, even when her heart is breaking. To her children, she is chauffeur, umpire, psychologist, spiritual advisor, financial consultant, part-time father, tooth fairy, Santa Claus, and the Easter Bunny. To her husband, she is friend, lover, partner, confidant, and soulmate. She is a patriot. She is the sort of citizen that all of us should be, but so few of us are. She lives with sacrifice because she believes in the rights and ideals that her husband defends. Although she wears no uniform, she is part of that defense, a vital link in the chain of freedom. And although she wears no medals and will reap no glory on the battlefield, she is a hero in the truest sense of the word. She is a Navy wife.
Command Master Chief Buford will now read Old Glory. Flag detail, post.
Flag detail, halt. Flag detail, about face.
I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly on top of the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch on America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over institutions of learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant. I am proud. And when I'm flown with my fellow banners, my head is held a little higher. My colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshiped. I am saluted. I am respected. I am revered. I am loved. And I am feared. For more than 200 years, I have fought in every battle of every war. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Antioch, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, the jungles of Guam, Okinawa, Tarawa, Korea, Vietnam, and in the heat of the Persian Gulf, and a score of other places long forgotten by all, but those who were there with me. I was there. I led my sailors and Marines. I followed them. I watched over them. They loved me. I was on a small hill at Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-torn and tired, but my sailors and Marines cheered me. I was proud. I have been soiled, burned, torn, trampled on the streets of countries that I have helped set free. It does not hurt, for I am invincible. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of my own country. And what is done by those who I have served in battle with, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the surely bounds of the earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I stand watch over the new frontier space. I have been the silent witness of all of America's finest hours. But my finest hour comes when I am torn into strips to be used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the field of battle. When I fly half-mast to honor my sailors and Marines, and when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the gravesite of her fallen son or daughter, I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave, dear God, long may I wave.
Thank you, Master Chief Buford and the flag detail. That part of the ceremony never fails to bring goosebumps and joy to all who witness it. So ladies and gentlemen, before I call up the man of the hour, I figured I'd give you a moment to catch your breath, collect your thoughts, and I'll want to say a quick few words, but know that you're on deck. You want me to start shooting? I'll do it. Just for you, Angela. But Angela, you never failed and never faltered to be an amazing wife, but you also never faltered to be the friend that all of Todd's shipmates needed. You've been a cornerstone of love and support, and we are all so very fortunate to have you by our side, and I'm beyond thankful for you and love you dearly. And Todd, I can't put it into words what it means for you to ask me to be part of your ceremony, and I truly can't imagine a Navy without you in it, and it's hard to believe that we're here at this moment after 25 years together. looking back to the 90s, who knew? From an undesignated airman to an AG2, you're the leader a sailor like me needed. And Lord knows it wasn't easy with all the shenanigans I was doing with Dragon and Gotno, my running mates on the flight deck. But I can't thank you enough for all, not only being you, but a mentor, confidant, and most of all, a friend I've relied on throughout my entire career. So thank you very much. So at this moment, let's hear it for the one and the only T.O.D.D.
All right. Good morning. So I've been working on this for the better part of 2 months now, and I'm going to stay on script and stay on track here. And I've taken the advice of a few people that said if you write a script, stick to the script, or write a speech, stick to it. And I'm going to try not to go off track here. So here we go. All right. First of all, thank you, Admiral Chevy, for driving down from Pax River and presiding here today. Admiral Cheever for flying in from Colorado Springs. I'm so grateful that you're both here today. IS-1 Smith in that rendition of the national anthem. So to the color guard, the flag detail, Father Elkin, thank you all so much. And then thank you, family and friends who made the trip out here to Oceana. I'm truly humbled by your presence here today. So as we've heard, I enlisted in the Navy 34 years ago today at RTC Great Lakes. I was going to do 4 years and get out. It never occurred to me that I would one day retire, much less 30 years after that initial enlistment. I'm so blessed to have been afforded the opportunities which led us here today. After boot camp, I was off to Millington, Tennessee for ATA school. So I had a few academic setbacks there, probably due to making numerous weekend drives up to Wentzville to visit friends and family, and one special girl in particular. Oh, it didn't make it long. So I did manage to graduate in December of '89 and headed to my first duty station in NAS North Island, California. Shore duty in sunny San Diego for a first duty station. I don't know what the Navy was thinking. After a couple of years there and long distance dating that special girl back in Missouri, we decided it would be a good idea to get married. So on June 6, 1992, Angela and I got married back home and drove out to San Diego to spend the final 7 months of that enlistment. Somewhere during that time, it occurred to us that the Navy thing may not be too bad. The pay wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. The benefits weren't bad, and the economy and the job market were uncertain. So maybe re-enlisting for another 4 years wasn't such a bad idea. I was given the opportunity to cross radiographer's mate, so off to Keesler Air Force Base at Mississippi for AGA school, and it turned out to be a great decision. I was surprisingly apt at being a weather guy. When it came time to call the detailer and figure out where we were off to next, he asked where I wanted to go, and I told him I'd been in San Diego on shore duty. I figured I was due to go to sea and would like to give the East Coast a try. And then I got shipmate. And those of us in the Navy know, coming from the detailer, that's not necessarily what you want to hear. You're going to El Centro. I knew where El Centro was. Angela and I had driven past El Centro from San Diego on our way to Mississippi, and I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of, I can't imagine being stationed out here. But off we went to El Centro, and it turned out to be one of our favorite duty stations. Both Travis and Ryan were born while we were there. We made some great friends, and it was there that I met my friend and mentor, Mike Horn. He was a first class petty officer, and he saw something in me. He set me up for success, taught me how to prepare for a rating exam and everything about weather. It's also where I met the first chief in the Navy that I remember, and that was AGC Bill Morton. He too saw something in me and put me on a good path. So with 2 kids and 7 years in the Navy, we decided that this is what I needed to do, and I should make it a career. So we headed back to Keesler Air Force Base for AGC school. After a very tense 10 months of stress and studying, I graduated, and looking at the long haul and the options that were available, I reluctantly took orders to Diego Garcia, unaccompanied, for 1 year, leaving Angela and the boys, who were then 3 and 1, back in Missouri. Out on Diego, I once again had the opportunity to work with my mentor, Mike Horn. He was then a chief, and I was a junior first-class petty officer. He once again provided me with sage advice and wise counsel. And I'm eternally grateful for having met and known him. Sorry. When I went to Mike's retirement ceremony in 2008, we were both senior chiefs, and he told me I would eventually be a master chief. Less than 2 years later, we lost Mike. I think of him dearly. I think of him often and miss him dearly. He had a profound impact on me. After a year on Diego Garcia, I was off to USS Wasp, LHD-1. I flew home to Missouri. We packed up and were driving east on I-64 for what would turn out to be numerous trips back and forth from Missouri to Virginia. We got to Virginia, got our household goods, and I went to the ship to check in on a Friday afternoon late in August. My Divo was on duty, and he told me a hurricane was brewing out in the Atlantic. The ship may be sortying in the next few days, so I should be ready to go. I didn't know what was going on. I told him, I got a wife and 2 toddlers at home with unpacked boxes in an unfamiliar place. I couldn't go. He proceeded to set me straight by explaining I'd checked into the ship, and when the ship goes, the crew goes, no exception. So I went home, told Angela that Hurricane Bonnie was coming, and I was probably leaving the next week. She took it in stride, and sure enough, the following week we sortied. We were in crazy seas no sooner than we cleared the Bay Bridge Tunnel. I was laid out on the deck up in the weather office, seasick as a dog, when this bubbly, bouncy airman covered in dirt and grime from working on the flight deck pops into the office. I had already heard from the weather crew about this kid who wanted to strike AG, who would work the flight deck all day, come up to the office and do OJT during the last deployment. That was my first encounter with Patty Kelly. She is a rock star, and the METOC community is so fortunate to have her. I've watched her go from that grimy chain-lugging airman to become the lead Master Chief AG in the Navy. I'm so proud of you, Patty. And I'm happy to say that you're my longest still-serving friend in the Navy. Thank you so much for flying here from Memphis and being the MC here today. So we had an interesting and eclectic group of AGs on the WASP. We had a great deployment. On the way home from that deployment, I found out that I had been selected to chief. It was a great tour. We made lifelong friends there with shipmates and their families. While on deployment on WASP, I was in my order negotiation window, and we had pulled into Rota, Spain. I was on the phone with Angela from Rota, and she asked how it was. I told her it was okay, but I didn't think we would like to be stationed there. We had bought our first house in Virginia Beach in 1999, and we thought we were going to be homesteading in the area, as there were going to be multiple locations to transfer here in the Hampton Roads. But a couple weeks later, the detailer was laying my options out to me, and I wasn't overly happy with the choices I was given. So I took the least bad option, called Angela to tell her we're going to Rota. She was a little confused by the choice given our previous conversation, but we went to Rota and loved it. It was a small community, and we made a lot of good friends there. We traveled, saw great places in Europe, and the boys kept us busy by playing every sport possible. After 3 years in Rota, it was orders to the USS Nassau, LHA-4, back in Virginia. Great crew, great chief's mess, and overall great experience. I had an awesome operations officer, Commander Mud Murdoch, who gave me the chance to be the Department LCPO, qualifying CIC as a watch officer in the Combat Information Center. And that deployment was quite different from our WASP deployment of 2000. It was post 9/11, there were very few port visits, a lot of underway days, multiple beer days, a lot of time off the coast of Somalia, and a crossing the line ceremony. But at the end of a very rewarding tour on Nassau, I finally got those elusive homesteading orders and reported to the Weather Center in Norfolk. It was the first time since we had been married that we didn't move at the end of a tour. We had bought a house in Virginia Beach when we left Rota, and we had made Shinfield drive home. The Weather Center was a unique place at that time. There were 4 separate METOC commands working out of one building. We made it work, and we had a great group of sailors, a great chief's mess. That was my first time serving as a command senior enlisted leader, and I found that I had really enjoyed it. As the tour was winding down, I was due to roll back to sea duty. Travis was in high school, and we had made the decision that once the boys started high school, leaving Virginia Beach wasn't an option. I requested the METOC Special Warfare Det leading chief's job over at Little Creek. After much back and forth, I got the position. And it was the right decision for our family. I would do 3 years there and retire happily at 24 years. About 8 months into the job, I received a call from the OIC who let me know that I'd been selected to deploy with SEAL Team 10. And oh, by the way, it wouldn't be the standard 6-month deployment. It would be 10 months, as we would be the first Navy unit to take over a Special Operations Task Force in Afghanistan. So that was an unexpected turn. But with the boys halfway through their junior and freshman years of high school, I deployed to Afghanistan in March 2011. I went over to be the staff weather guy, ended up serving the back half of the deployment as the TOC chief. One of the hardest yet most rewarding things I've done in the Navy. I returned in February of 2012, 11 months later, for the back half of the boys' senior and sophomore years. In May of 2012, I got word that I'd promoted to Master Chief. I had decided up to that point that if I were ever to make 9, I would apply for the Command Master Chief program. In 2013, when the CMC results came out, we were on a whole new path. I called the CMC detailer, and he asked what I would like to do. I told him I wanted to go to a Helo squadron in Norfolk. He asked what I thought about an F-18 squadron in Oceana. I told him that it sounded interesting, but I was really interested in the Helo squadron in Norfolk. So we know what came next, shipmate. Pick an F-18 squadron in Oceana. So I made the best decision of my life, of my career up to that point, and selected BFA 83, the Rampagers. What a squadron. I could not have had a better tour as a CMC. Great COs, XOs, wardroom, chief's mess, and enlisted crew. It really doesn't get any better than we had it. Ram on. 2 years into my 3-year tour at the Rams, the CAG 1 job came available. I talked to the skipper, Goose Ballou, and he very reluctantly gave me permission to apply early for the job. I spoke with the CAG, Captain Pizza Hewlett, and he offered me the job. So I flew out to Bahrain and caught the COD out to the TR for the last 2 months of deployment. This is going to be the tour that took me to the retirement at 30 years. By this time, we had 5 tours in the Hampton Roads area. The boys were both off at college. Angela and I were empty nesters. So the opportunity to apply for a job in the MCPON Leadership Mess presented itself, and I applied to be the CMC at the Naval Aviation Warfighting Development Center out in Fallon, home of Top Gun. I interviewed with Admiral Cheever. I'd done some other interviews, but this one was different. I felt like something really clicked. So when I hung up the phone, Angela said, what do you think? I said, I think we're going to Fallon. The next day, Admiral Cheever called and told me I had the job. So for the first time in 14 years, we were on the move. We sold the house, packed up, and headed west. We dropped the boys off in Missouri along the way and started our whirlwind tour in Fallon. We loved the high desert, met wonderful folks, and truly enjoyed our short 20 months there. An opportunity presented itself again in the late summer of 2019. There was a new process for selecting CMCs working for flag officers, and I was told that I had been screened and selected to interview for the CMC job at NAVAIR. I didn't feel like I nailed that interview, but the day after I received a call saying that I'd been selected for the job. So we packed up and headed to PAX in February of 2020. We arrived, got the house set up, and the day after I relieved my predecessor, we were in COVID lockdown. That first year and a half was a challenge, trying to navigate life in a new place, meet and work with folks, and get a feel for everything, all while being locked down. So the good news is the last half of the final tour has been much better. Admiral Chevy, the changes you're making at NAVAIR have been a breath of fresh air, and the Navy and the Naval Aviation are reaping the rewards. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to travel and meet our NAVAIR sailors all over the world, doing great things for the Naval Aviation enterprise.
All right, we're about to get real good. Real hard for me.
So I've mentioned a few folks that have been important along the way, and I have to mention a few more. I have to start with some who should have been here today, but we've lost on this journey. First of all, my father-in-law, Don Beggy. Don was an Army vet who was drafted and served during the 1960s. I was recently able to obtain Don's VA burial flag, and we used that in the preceding flag passing ceremony. My stepfather, Tom Bailey, who was a Marine Reservist veteran, and he served during the early 70s. My friend and mentor, Master Chief Tom Grace, who gave me his Master Chief anchors at his retirement ceremony in 2008. And good friend, Senior Chief Steve Butler, Chief Aaron Brewer, and Mike Brady. All were taken from us much too soon. To all our friends and family out here today, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here with us. We're so fortunate to have met and known you all along the way. I'm truly humbled that you are here celebrating with us. Your friendships are a blessing. There are so many who mean so much to me, and if I mention you all by name, we'll be up here all day. So thank you all. There are a couple I do need to make mention of who traveled, and I'm truly grateful. Master Chief Jessica Mahalan and your husband, Dave Sherritt, thank you two so much for coming up from Mississippi to participate today. And I already said Patty coming in from Memphis, so thank you all. So it makes me particularly proud when I look out there and see those of you who worked with me when you were junior sailors and you're now chiefs, senior chiefs, master chiefs, warrant officers and officers. It makes me so happy to watch your success. I hope that I have had as positive an impact on your careers as you have had on mine. So my family, our family, who traveled out here from Missouri, Illinois, Texas, Nebraska, and Colorado in the middle of winter to be here today. My sister Carmen, brother Rick, sisters and brothers-in-law, nieces, nephews, aunts, and cousins, thank you for your love and support. My mother-in-law Joan, thank you for making me feel like I was part of the family from that first Christmas that Angela brought me to back in 1987. Thank you for raising such a strong, smart, tough as nails, but so sweet and loving daughter. And thank you for allowing me to marry her. Or allowing her to marry me, I suppose. My stepmom, Diane, thank you for all you've done for us. Your heart is so big and generous. Thank you for taking such good care of that sometimes grouchy, stubborn, and cantankerous man there next to you. Mom, thank you for the love and support and all you've done for us over the years. We made good memories and had good times during the visits to California, Mississippi, Virginia, and Rhode. Dad, you taught me about, you don't get anything, sorry. You taught me about patriotism, service, and love of country. Your service to the Legion and the community are admirable. You've always been a solid sounding board for me. My dad's one of those Vietnam veterans that the Admiral was talking about. He served with the 25th Infantry Division. He was over in Vietnam during the Tet Offensive. He was a crew chief on Hueys. Thank you. Thank you and welcome home. Thank you for all you've done for us. My boys, Travis and Ryan, I'm so proud of all you two have accomplished. You're kind, caring, and all-around good men. You're always there to support me, albeit with some sarcasm and smartassery thrown in. You endured a lot of moves early in your lives, and you've proven to be tough and resilient. I love you more than you can imagine. And Angela, my rock, my best friend and partner in this wonderful life which we have built over the last 30 years. You get all the credit for how wonderful those two turned out. I know that I was gone for at least an accumulated 5+ years of underways, workups, debts, travel, and deployments while they were growing up. You are a truly great mom. Thank you for going on this ride with me and allowing me to take the hard jobs that led to a career I never imagined as I rode that train out of St. Louis headed to Great Lakes 34 years ago today. I cannot do justice up here to just how phenomenal you are. I'm so excited to see what our future holds now that we have our 11th and final household goods move completed and our new house awaiting us. I love you so very much. Giddy up, baby. Let's do this.
Retired Senior Chief David Sherritt will now read the CPO retirement creed. All CPOs, past and present, please stand and cover.
You have, on this day, experienced that which comes to all of us who serve on active duty in our Navy. I say our Navy because your departure from active duty in no way terminates your relationship. By law and tradition, U.S. Navy retirees are always on the rolls, ever ready to lend their service when the need arises. The respect you earned as the Chief was based on the same attributes that you will now carry into retirement. You should have no regrets. Do not view your retirement as an end of an era, but as orders to a new and challenging assignment, to a form of special independent duty. Remember well that you have been, and always will be, an accepted member of the most exclusive of all fraternities, that of the U.S. Navy Chief Petty Officers. The active duty chiefs salute you. Active duty chiefs, and salute. Ready, two. And your retired chiefs welcome you. I wish you the traditional fair winds and following seas.
Vice Admiral Shebby will now present Master Chief Anselm the Certificate of Retirement. Certificate of Retirement. To all who shall see these present greetings, this is to certify that Master Chief Todd Anselm, having served faithfully and honorably for 34 years, was retired from the United States Navy on the first day of April 2023. Signed, Carl Shebby, Vice Admiral, U.S. Navy Commander, Naval Air Systems Command. Reverend Monsignor Elkin will now deliver the benediction.
As we conclude this ceremony, let us once more turn our minds and hearts to God. Dear God, we thank you for Todd Anselm and his years of exemplary admiral service for God, country, and the United States Navy. We ask that you now continue to bless him, his wife Angela, their sons, his father, and all family members and friends gathered here to share this great day. We also ask that you bless those shipmates that Master Chief Anselm has served with, especially those he trained, encouraged, inspired, helped to achieve their goals and dreams for themselves and the United States Navy. Those fine memories will give him moments of peace and joy to reflect on for days and years. As Todd and Angela turn a new page in their life's journey, they trust that you, Lord, will continue to light and guide their way. The friends they have made through the years in the United States Navy will give them many, many beautiful and long-lasting memories. Lord, give safe passage to all those who have traveled here to come and honor Todd on this very, very special day. Finally, we pray that the Lord God Almighty will watch over, protect, and guide those who today are serving in harm's way, and that they will return home safely to their loved ones. For this we pray, O Lord. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Please be seated. Master Chief Fuller will now read the watch.
For 34 years, this sailor has stood the watch. While some of us were in our bunks at night, this sailor stood the watch. While some of us were in school learning our trade, this shipmate stood the watch. Yes, even before some of us were born into this world, this shipmate stood the watch. In those years when the storm clouds of war were seen brewing on the horizon of history, this shipmate stood the watch. Many times he would cast an eye ashore and see his family standing there, needing his guidance and help, needing that hand to hold during those hard times. But still, he stood the watch. He stood the watch for 34 years. He stood the watch so that we, our families, and our fellow countrymen could sleep soundly and safely each and every night, knowing that a sailor stood the watch. Today we are here to say, shipmate, the watch stands relieved. Relieved by those you have trained, guided, and led. Todd, you stand relieved. We have the watch. Boatswain, stand by to pipe the side. Shipmate going ashore.
It has become customary following retirement for a family to be piped ashore, honoring them for their contribution to their husband's and father's career. Master Chief, United States Navy, retired, departing. Master Chief, United States Navy, retired, and family, departing. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the retirement ceremony. On behalf of Master Chief Anselm, thank you very much for taking part in this time-honored tradition. Please join us for refreshments and cake in the adjoining room. Thank you all very much.